All right. Hello, and welcome to a new series. That's right, folks. It's been a while. If you are not new to the channel, but if you are new, my name is Erdos12, and what I used to do back in the 2016, I believe, was that I actually worked with tutorials and with Studio and showed people how to do things. Now I'm bringing that back, but in a different light. This series is a new series called RoStrap Dive, where we take a look at RoStrap, but not just take a look at it, but show you how to use it, how to also use it efficiently too. So, yeah. Anyways, let's get started. So, first, we're going to cover how to use it, or how to install it. So as you can see, I have a bunch of plugins here, right? First one you want to get is RoStrap. So RoStrap is, I believe, right here, as you can see where I'm circling with my cursor. And basically you go to Manage Plugins, of course. Wait for it. Should be here any minute. There it is. You click Find Plugins. And then you search RoStrap, and if you find this, which has this logo or thumbnail, you install it. Simple as that. Alright? So out of that, this is how I would set up my space. As you can see here, you need HTTP service. So, with that being said, we go to Game Settings, and we go to Allow HTTP requests. Save. Then you go here, you go to RoStrap, and then you load it. It's loading, but you select the things that you need, not what you don't need. So first, I'm thinking of installing this in server storage. I mean, you could do server script service, it's your preference, but I prefer to do it in server storage. It's much better that way. So, sorry guys. My voice is a little bit off today, but it'll be fine. Okay. So next thing we do is we find, for this tutorial, it's going to be ChoiceDialog that I'll be covering first out of all the packages. And next time it'll be Spring. So go figure. So that means if I select ChoiceDialog, and I've got the documentation right on my screen. Well, actually not right on my screen, but I have it in another window. So we're going to go based by documentation here. So keep that in mind. I'm just checking the time just to make sure I'm on point. So what we have here is, it's two-step single choice dialog with built-in replication, like they say on the site. It's exactly that. So it's material design based, and the good thing about this is that it can be used for things that require a choice that's straightforward and isn't really dialogue related. You know, what I mean by dialogue related, I mean things like NPCs, interacting with characters, things like that. This is similar, and it's utilitarian in a way. That is, you use it for many things, like loadout menu specifically for the tiers, which are basically like types of customizations you can add to your weapon to suit your needs, and options for loadout needs, such as customizing it, or maybe even for that matter, what I like looking at stats. Now, there's a power option, but I got rid of it because it's just so yeah. Anyways, I'm going to look here. And the way you load it in or prepare it to be used, so what we're going to do is we're going to put in starter player scripts, a local script. Now, you would do local resource. Actually, wait. First, you have to get replicated storage. Game get service, replicated storage. Then you do resources equals require replicated storage, wait for child, resources 200. Now, when doing this, this means that you're not just trying to get it just right away. You're actually trying to make sure that the resources module script that actually powers the entire thing is there. Simple as that. Now, the next thing you'll have to do is you'll have to load in sudo instance, which allows you to create the dialog. Resources load library. I like to do it with resources load library instead of just replacing require with this, because of the fact that we actually have to require different things in my game that aren't in the repository, such as, for example, the configuration is in module scripts, attachments are in a special module script, which contains like a list of objects that are created or instantiated either directly or via an array or table of some kind. All of that is like unpacked and put into the constructor. Like you index it and then it gives you what you want, basically. So just keep that in mind. That's how I'd like to do things. But all of that is in module script that has to be required away from the repository. So that's why I use this instead of replacing this. So I'll do resources load library. And the library we're going to load is sudo instance, of course. Now before that, you have to do resources load library replicated sudo instance. And then you do resources load library ChoiceDialog. Now, will this work? No. Reason why? This is almost empty. So we'll have to do local sudo instance equals resources load library. Now, in a future episode in this series, I might show you how I actually got the this kind of ChoiceDialog UI to work with Gamepad, which is what I had to do for my XE version of my game. XE, by the way, stands for Xbox Edition. So it has to work on Xbox in order for it to be included in XE in the first place. And I just made it happen, but I'll show you in another episode. So replicated sudo instance, and there you have it. You have the loading done. Now we're going to move on to the ChoiceDialog creation itself. So another thing you could load is what I like to call, that's right, color. Resources load library color. And basically this will allow you to customize colors and stuff. Or you could just use a color 3 if you want to. So what I'm thinking is sudo instance that new. So we're going to start with the utmost property, which is primary color 3. Now when you're doing a primary color, or in a dialog in general, what do you have to consider? Well, one, you have to consider exactly what you want out of this dialog. It could be anything, really. But the thing is, you don't want to have something that just doesn't work. You know, you want to have something practical. As a UI designer by trade, I should know that. I mean, sheesh. I've been making dialog for how many years? I mean, not dialog, UI for like almost 2 years. The first year I didn't do too well, but the second year, that's when I started to prosper with it. I started to get better and better and better. You know, I knew what I wanted. So, just a quick tip to keep in mind if you're going to make a game, regardless if you're using RoStrap or even others like Nevermore, Arrow Game Framework, things like that. So, let's get back to what we were doing. So, in order to create the dialog, you would do local dialog equals sudo instance.new. Just like instance.new, it's sudo instance.new. Or you can do sudo instance.make if you just want to specify the properties. I think I prefer make because you can just specify them off the bat if you want to. So I'll do ChoiceDialog. Now the next part is going to be involving some thinking. So, primary color 3 is basically the color of the buttons themselves, right? So what if we were actually to do that? Let's see, primary color 3. Now for the color scheme, you want it to be readable, but you also want it to fit your game. For mine, there's a lot of colors, but blue, as in the blue that I kept from another game, was used, and so is some greens, and even purple was used for that matter, to differentiate it from each other. So I think I'm going to do color dot, let's just say purple. No, wait, magenta. No, I would just go with blue 300. This is just a guess. And, or actually, no. I think we can do this. That's if you want to do that. But I'd rather do this. RGB 0, 163, 255. That's the color that I used. So now the choices come up. So when you're adding choices or options, what do you actually want to include? Well, it's simple as this. Think as if you were using the dialog object from the actual Roblox engine instead of RoStrap. For that, it's mainly conversational design that goes into that, but in this case, this isn't conversational design, but they still share some of the same concepts. For example, let's just say you wanted to make something that allows you to choose what you want to do with the gun, like in Crossroads Warfare. In Crossroads Warfare, the dialog has two main options for dealing with the gun. You can customize it, which is customize, and if you want to view its stats, you can view its stats. Nothing that's out of touch, nothing that doesn't make sense. Well, you get the idea. So, like, whenever you're doing that, you have to consider what does the user want to actually deal with regarding options. So, my options here is just for demonstration would have been customize and stats, just uppercase. Now header text should be whatever you're trying to get the user to do. So header text choose action. Sorry, I ate breakfast not too long ago, but it's okay. Now, when you do dismiss, you want it to also be in context of whatever you're doing. Like dismiss could be cancel. For this case, it's cancel. It's not dismiss, it's cancel. Or same thing goes with confirm. So here's what I would do. For this case, I would just do dismiss text equals cancel, and confirm text equals select. Or you can do, whichever one. Now, with that being said, here's what we got so far. we've gotten all of this. Well, actually, you don't see it yet, but we've gotten most of the stuff from the example, down pack, or the documentation. The last two things we have to do is the onConfirmed and the parenting. So let's do the parenting. Whenever you parent this, you just do it like any other instance, except here's the deal. You need a layer collector, which is a screen GUI, surface GUI, billboard, but the one that you want to really use is screen GUI because it's only going to appear on there. Or you can use a GUI object such as a frame, text label, text button, text box, image label, things like that go inside the screen GUI and make it what it is. So with that being said, I'm going to make a testing screen GUI and we are going to insert it. But before you do that, what you really need is the player object. That's really important for this because player GUI is where this will be, not starter GUI. So dialog.parent will equal, okay, here's what we have to do. Player GUI equals player, wait for child, player GUI 200. And then I'll just do player GUI, wait for child, test 200. And that's it. Now let's just see how it all works. Should be good by now. We're 17 minutes into the video. Making good progress as usual. So it should be coming up soon. I think this is just how this works. So just give it some time, guys. There's nothing to it. Alright, so the issue with this instance of Roblox Studio is that it has a bug where it just shows a script instead of going straight to this. So as you can see here, this is the dialog. This is the color that I used. The text is blue and the way these appear are blue. So if you select one, you can just use customize or stats. Now it uses a ripple effect, which we'll cover in the third video of this episode, or third episode of this series, which is coming up in 2 weeks. But this is just how it works. You have choose action, customize, stats. Can't move dialog. There's a blur in the background, as you can see here. So that's good. And I think I'm going to choose stats, select, and basically it tweens out. There you have it. Now, if you want to do anything with it, here's what we're going to do first. I am going to take dialog and do .onConfirmed. Now you're probably wondering, how does that actually work? Isn't signals like gone since RBX library got deprecated? Well, not necessarily. Signals can be created using meta tables and bindables, but it would take a lot. It doesn't take that much, actually. But in this case, it's just like there is no lowercase connect. It's always uppercase. Simple as that. Now the parameters for this event are player and choice. So I'm going to do if choice, then, and you have to check this because the choice will be always nil whenever they dismiss the dialog. So if choice equals stats, then print you picked weapon stats. else if choice equals customize, then print you picked weapon customization. And now I'll just do one here just to show you. Else print you picked nothing. Now in a follow-up vid, we will be dealing with this using a snack bar instead of printing it, to show you how the snack bar works, but also to get an idea of how fun this can be. So now let's test it out. So wait a minute. Okay, we've got it on. So I think I'm going to choose this first. As you can see, you pick weapon customization. I'm going to do it two more times to show you exactly how it works and explain certain things at the end. So I'm going to do stats. You pick weapon stats. Okay. And one more time, just to show how it actually does work when you press dismiss. So I'm going to do cancel. You pick nothing. So basically it uses the choice. And the choice is going to be uppercase in my usage, but you can be lowercase or anything really. You can even use a table to deal with it, but I would suggest only doing that if the choice is not nil, because if it's nil, then it's a problem. So yeah. Anyways, I think we've covered pretty much everything. So with that being said, my name is Erados12. Actually, wait. Before I actually close out, I'm going to give a recap. What did we cover? Well, in simple terms, we covered a little tidbit of how to install RoStrap